What is going on, Vikings fans? I hope you guys can hear me. Let me get this mic set up a little bit better. There we go. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Man, my voice is really low right now. Sorry, I wasn't able to get on yesterday, guys. I woke up after Monday night's game and I basically had lost my voice. So, it's mostly back now, but it's really easy to get really down low here and not so easy to get up to my higher registers. But anyways, I wanted to start this power rankings live with a quick word to my Minnesota Vikings fans. I've been thinking a lot about our team, the situation that we're in, and I thought I put some stuff together, and I kind of wrote something here. I wanted you guys to hear. So here we go. Now, the Minnesota Vikings are in a place many of us have dreamed about for years. We've all watched other teams draft quarterbacks who grew into legends and wondered, why not us? When is it going to be our turn? 2 years ago, I dove 2 years ago, I dove into every article, every highlight, every scouting report I could find, studying everything about every quarterback who might wear purple and gold. And the one that I believed most in was J.J. McCarthy. On draft night, I was worried that the Giants or Broncos might take him. But when the Vikings called his name, I was ecstatic. Fast forward to today, and even after Monday's tough loss against the Falcons, I still feel the same way. Why? You might think to yourself, because this is only the beginning of the ride. Think of it like a roller coaster, okay? The climb builds, you're nervous, and the anticipation is thick. The first drop fills you with pure joy. Then the next dip comes, and it feels awful. But you would never jump off the ride halfway through. Of course not. The best moments are still ahead. Yet some Vikings fans are acting like the ride is already over. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I learned this lesson last year during the Sam Darnold experiment. I told myself, no matter what happens, I'd enjoy the journey, and I'm glad I did. Because if I had jumped off after Darisaw's injury, I would have missed incredible moments of adversity, moments of pure elation, and highlights that I will never forget. You guys remember that sick pass out of the end zone against the 49ers? How about the interception by Metellus? Man, it was truly incredible. And I don't want you to miss what's coming next. We're Vikings fans. We carry ourselves with class and dignity. We don't act like delusional Bears fans. We don't live in denial like Packers fans. And we're not blind like Lions fans. We stand tall. So sit back, enjoy the ride, and don't lose faith. Think about the Patriots fans in 2001 who swore Tom Brady would never be more than a backup. I remember articles saying that Tom Brady would never replace Bledsoe. Headlines called him a system quarterback. He's just a system quarterback, remember? Maybe I'm just old enough to remember some of that stuff or some of those negative narratives that were surrounding the 2001 Patriots. History proved them wrong. And history is still being written here in Minnesota. I'm not saying JJ is Tom Brady, and I don't know how the season will end. But I do know this. One day, we'll we'll look back at this time and wish we could relive this moment, the start of something special, instead of wasting it in doubt and frustration. Keep your head up high, Vikings fans. The best is still to come. And when it does, make sure you can say that you were here for all of it, from the very start, from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs. So that's all I wanted to kind of let you guys or start the live with today. Maybe some encouraging words, or maybe give you guys a little switch of perspective, because we truly are blessed as Minnesota Vikings fans. We have one of the best rosters in football. I know we're injury riddled right now. We have one of the best coaches in football. There are multiple organizations in this league right now that would steal KOC and Brian Flores from us and never look back. We have a lottery pick that for the first time in Vikings history. We have a generational talent at wide receiver. We have so much to enjoy, and all that's left to do is enjoy the ride that we're on. And over the next couple seasons, I think and I have faith that we will develop into what I foresee that we will. Mr. Lefty, what's up, buddy? So, with all that being said, thank you so much for indulging me in my little rant, or maybe my little motivational talk, my Tony Robbins moment. But yeah, I don't know. It was weird. During that entire game, I was never scared. I was never worried. I never even lost hope, to be brutally honest. To me, I was living in the moment of history that one day I'll say, I was at that home opener when it all looked like it was about to fall down. And look at us now. So maybe it's a perspective that comes from, I don't know, this sense of just this overwhelming positivity or good perspective that I try to have, because I definitely want to try to bring good into the world. I want to be positive. I want to be a beacon of hope, maybe for Vikings fans. Maybe it's all, I don't know if I should open up, but maybe it's all the stuff that I've been through since the beginning of the year, the losses, family losses. Maybe experiencing all those things helps me stay grounded, and it may be the reason why a tough loss doesn't get to me, or maybe it gives me the ability to be so optimistic. I don't know, but whatever it is, I just want the joy that I have for this Minnesota Vikings team and the NFL to overflow to the rest of you. And maybe that's why I can be so optimistic or delusional, or even the Vikings' greatest homer. But I hope I can bestow some of that onto you guys, because I don't want my fellow Vikings fans to agonize and to suffer through it all, right? I love you guys all. I want the best. I want you guys to all enjoy our team and just be happy, right? So maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just ranting now, but needless to say, I'm struggling to find the words. But let's just leave it at, let's just skål, baby. Let's just have fun. Let's enjoy the ride while we have it, because I think it's going to be something special. I think we'll be pleasantly surprised. All right, guys. So let's jump into the power rankings, ladies and gentlemen. Let me pull up the tab with last week's power rankings. Here we go. So this is where were left last week. The top 12, 13 to 24, 25 to 32. Let me just quickly look at some of these. Let's look at the bottom tier. Let me just reevaluate this bottom tier. See if anybody needs to be pulled down and reassessed. We got the Bears, Saints, Patriots, Jets, Giants, Titans, Dolphins, Cowboys, Panthers, and Browns. Man, Drake May's performance might be enough. Let's just pull down the Patriots for 1 second. We're just going to drop that there. Out of the bottom tier. Maybe just a little shuffling we could do, because what I'm looking at right now is the Giants and the Cowboys. So let's do this. And let's go like that. I'm actually kind of impressed at how well Spencer Rattler and the Saints have kind of managed after 2 weeks. But yeah. Let me see out of this tier if any team is worth pulling out of. Yeah, Seahawks. How did LA end? I forgot. Oh, yeah, so we can pull up. That's the other team that I said to myself, don't forget that needs another looky look. Oh. Cardinals. Wait. The freaking Colts won that game? Last I saw. Oh, crap. Okay. So let's pull the Colts down here and we'll reassess. We're going to pull all the teams that need to be reassessed. Teams that need to be reassessed. All right. So we got teams that we need to be reassessing right here. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 teams in the top 12. We need to move one team down from here. The Texans leave. Where did the Texans do? Yeah, they go. Wow, embarrassing. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Let's bring. No, I guess let's bring that there. Let's bring this here. Raiders can probably go down one. There we go. Lions can probably go here. 12. I think Vikings can go here at 13. It's a lot of questions to be had there. The roster's good. Everything's good. It's just a lot of adversity right now, and that doesn't merit them a top 12 position just not until they've re-earned it. Historic night cannot carry them through into this week. Or, yeah, that historic win in week 1 cannot prevent the fall, as epic as that was. I think I'm going to put the Patriots up here. I think I'm going to put these two up here. I think the Bengals would go there. You know what? Let's put the Colts there. I will give. What's going to be the tying factor? I think we'll put them. Nah. We'll go there. Norse, what's going on, buddy? What do you mean? Oh, I know, man. I was like, yeah. I'm so upset that I missed you, man. I definitely am. I really wanted to meet you, dude. That's okay. I'm gonna be at next year's Skull Fest. And are you a Minnesota local? Do you have like season tickets or did you fly in as well? Because if you're there regular, I might next time I come down, I'll let you know, or I'll just like make a post or whatever, and we can schedule up, meet up at the Mall of America or somewhere. You know what I mean? Because definitely you've been one of the guys, the OGs, man. So I really appreciate it. Oh, you're only 3 hours away. Oh, okay. Oh fuck, man. I wish I only lived 3 hours away. I'm so jealous. Okay, so let's move this. I don't think the Washington should drop for too far down. I think they should still maintain the top 12. Do that. I think that feels like. Let me look at the scores again. Who had the bye last week? Nobody had a bye. Everybody played week 2. What am I fucking talking about? It's week 2. My goodness. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Let's go back. The Chiefs. I'm gonna put them there. Oh, you know what? This is where we get into dicey territory because wait, an 0-2 start for the Chiefs. Is there Super Bowl? Is there Super Bowl history as well as dynasty blinding me right now? Should the Chiefs? They're 0-2. They should probably. Let's just say that it saved them from the top, from falling fully out of the top 12. How can you have an 0-2 team in the top 12? Well, you know what? I like to base my stuff on probabilities. So, what are the probabilities out of, let's say, if we look at the 0-2 teams, what are the 0-2 teams right now? We got the Browns, the Giants, the Bears, the Dolphins, the Saints, the Jets, the Titans, the Panthers, the Chiefs, the Texans. Right. So if you take all those teams together, right, out of all those, who is most probable to be able to dig themselves out of that hole? It's obvious. It's the Chiefs. Um, you might be able to argue the Texans because they have a loaded roster. They have a nice young quarterback that has the potential. He's trying to pull himself out of a sophomore slump this year. So there is potential there. But overall, the experience, the quarterback, the offensive and coach, or the defensive coordinator, and then the coach, like those guys, that's just too much. to bet against. So we'll call that Baltimore Ravens 1-1. I would take. I feel like these three are interchangeable. The Bills, the Eagles, and the Ravens are definitely like any week. I feel like these three teams are gonna be fighting for the top spot like the entire season. And then over the throughout the season, we're gonna see a bunch of these like top 12 teams have some weeks where they look like the best team. So like I feel like all these teams could definitely earn that spot right now. Like the Green Bay can go off, the Chargers can go off, San Fran somehow is still freaking kicking it, and they're 2-0, right? So Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield, we all know he can go from struggling to lights out. Jaden Daniels, I believe, too much in. Maybe that's a little bit of a confession, but I definitely think he's worth or has earned the benefit of the doubt. Same with Matthew Stafford and the Rams. I know they're still team. The thing that gets me with them is that they're like one injury away to a specific player that would literally destroy their season, and then they could literally just drop to the bottom, right? The Lions, there's no secret that I think they're going to be quite mediocre this year. I feel like they got 8 wins in them. I feel like that this last week was more of a product of, you know what I mean? Like, I know I've been in that situation where I used to play for we have these teams called, I don't know if it makes sense in the States, but in when I used to play competitive soccer growing up, and based on your districts, we'd have select teams, right? And sometimes our districts got restructured, and one year I'd play for one team, and then the next time I'd play for a different team. And I remember one season, um, the majority of the team ended up like where we were, like with the same coach, same everything. And then there was um the other half of the team was um on a different team because they got just like moved redistrict, right? So I remember that game because it was like we were playing ourselves. It felt really weird, but there was so much extra motivation. I remember I felt like I tried harder. I felt like it was probably the best game of the season, and then everything else did never really compare to that. So I think maybe the that urge from them not to, look bad, maybe that kind of boosted them a little bit. So we're the jury's still out, in my opinion, on these lines. So, but they have earned a spot where they are holding that 10th spot. Sam Darnold and the Seahawks have silenced the Steelers. That was definitely quite the accomplishment. So yeah, I think we're good there on the top. This could be reorganized a little bit here. You might be able to argue that. You might be able to argue this, but I would not because of the differences between week 1 and week 2. I might be able to argue these three somewhere a little bit of different order, but all in all, the one thing that we do know that we have right is all these bottom teams, as of right now, are where they need to be. These middle teams are the ones that are in the midst of kind of finding themselves. Maybe you could call it trying to get past that, like, let me zoom in a little bit, past that like lack of preseason. You know what, let me talk about this for a second, because we were talking about this. So I saw this on the live. Man, I have been ranting, not on stream or anything, but like the friends and stuff, about how bad or how much the impact of not having that 4th preseason game has impacted the NFL, especially the start of the season. We see a lot of teams come out so uncharacteristic, so rough, stuff that we would see in week 3 of the preseason, because week 3 used to be what we called the dress rehearsal, right? The starters would play the entire first half, and we would get to see them kind of, sometimes you'd see teams come out in that dress rehearsal and they'd look like they didn't miss a beat, but sometimes they'd come out and they'd be a little sloppy or things just weren't going right. And it was a great time for them to really kind of dial it in, kind of shake that rust off, right? And not to mention, all the other teams would also play their starters for the first half. So that first half was as close to a regular season that each team could experience before the season started. On top of the fact that since the reduction of the two a days, practices and all that stuff, as well as the reduction of the like removing of that fourth game, I feel like we have seen a lot more injuries to start the season or just scattered throughout the season. One, I think because the lack of I think about it because I was a personal trainer for the better part of a decade, and I have seen, um, I have witnessed a lot of, a lot of feats of strength. I've witnessed a lot of high level athletes, other personal trainers that were far in far better shape, stronger, all these things than me. And one thing that I noticed is that like some of these guys, the consistent training strengthens like everything, your ligaments, your tendons, your muscles. It kind of creates this callus, if you would, where because the muscle is becomes accustomed to getting banged up, always doing, whatever training it is, it seems to build a resilience to injury, right? And as a result, they can handle, like in CrossFit or whatever, or powerlifting, they can handle a little bit more, and you don't see as many injuries, right? And when I try to extrapolate that into NFL, it's like they their bodies don't get a chance to truly prepare for the impact that they're going to receive game in and game out for a really long season, for that type of punishment that the body endures. So because they don't develop that callus or that kind of, you know, it, I feel like that's why we've seen a lot of these like random injuries, um because the bodies aren't as battle tested or hardened. I don't know. So so there's that aspect to it. And then the discombobulation that we see from teams in that first week. Some teams come out and they look like world beaters, right? Week 1 and 2, and then they just fall off. Then we've seen other teams that start slow, and then all of a sudden they hit their groove, and we don't look back, and they're one of the best teams in the league. And I feel like the reduction of that preseason game, as well as the reduction of the amount of practices that the teams can have. I know that that change has been all done for like over a decade now. And I get that player safety, concussions, CTE, I get that as well. But I think it does negatively affect. But like I said, I don't know what the right solution is, because there's also a factor of when you overtrain, your body is also susceptible, and there's an increased probability of injury as well. So when you undertrain, you potentially can you open yourself up for injuries. And when you overtrain your body and your muscles and ligaments, they are you're more likely to get injured, right? So I don't know what the answer is, but I do see that that is an unfortunate side effect of this new way of doing things with 3 preseason games. um but you know what? I'm sure maybe we're just in this adaptation phase of the NFL where, because it hasn't been, a decade or 15 years, teams haven't developed a strategy to be able to progress through the preseason to get the team fully ready for week 1. I know some teams look like they have, but other organizations have. Maybe it's a thing of over time, we might see that level out, and we might go back to the consistency that we used to see in the NFL when it came to that. But hey, no problem, Norris. I'll catch you later, man. So yeah, so that's yeah, that sucks. So that's why I think that out of all the situations, maybe that might explain some of these 0-2 starts, or these 2-0 starts, or these 1-1 starts. But regardless of the matter is, it is the format that we live by today, and it is what it is. HC is soft. When he was complaining about joint practices before. HC, whose head coach is soft. What do you expect he was complaining about joint practices before? I'm trying to remember a headline. Did KOC complain about 2-a-days or joint practices? I don't remember that quote or anything like that, but regardless, um, it is the new format that we're going to be in, and it's a new modern kind of way. I'm old school, right? So I'm more of that 2-a-day mindset, where you get tough by putting yourself in tough situations and through grueling training. Um, I'm definitely the type of guy that, like, I have tried to do some of my heaviest lifts or go for PRs after I've had full workouts in. After doing like a full 2 prescription CrossFit circuit and being completely crushed, after resting, maybe later in the afternoon, going to try to hit my bench PRs or my squat PRs and I was able to endure that grueling training. But I'm from a different era, right? So these younger generations, they have a lot more. We have a lot more science, sports science, health science, that help these organizations, the NFL, these doctors, whatever, kind of come up with these. So I don't know enough, and I'm not going to pretend to be an expert and say that it's a stupid idea to cut the fourth preseason game or to not do 2-a-days. Um, I'll defer that to them, and it is what it is, and I totally get it. Player safety is a number one thing. You know, Sacrificing our players' future and their health just for our gratification doesn't seem logical to me, but I get it. I understand the Skull Barber. What's going on, buddy? But yeah, I'm okay with it. And even if it's not my cup of tea, and I would, I'm old school, but maybe it's just like I said, it's an adaptation period for the NFL as players adapt to the new system, as they find ways to try to get the same kind of preparation physically with less. Like there are great minds out there. There's great trainers out there. I've met a lot of them, strength and conditioning coaches that think outside the box. So it's just a matter of time before that time gets improved, that preparation time, and maybe we won't see so many injuries, and maybe we'll see more prepared teams to start the season. You never know, but it is what it is. Ooh, check out the new water tumbler, whatever the hell these things are called. I got in Minnesota this week. Got to stay hydrated, guys. Water is source for life and the number one source for your fat burning system. If you don't have water, if you are completely dehydrated, it's very difficult for your body to burn fat or calories. So it's very important to stay hydrated. A little bit of knowledge from my old personal training days, but yes, those. Let me put that up again real quick so you guys can get a quick look at the current power rankings. It is subjective. I know everybody's power rankings are different and they're going to have different perspectives and whatnot, but these are just my power rankings, and I hope that you guys enjoyed. It's more for fun than it being super realistic or whatever. So, but yeah, thank you so much for all the support. And man, and sorry for not being able to go live again yesterday. My voice was rough yesterday. It was so bad. I thought today I was gonna wake up and I was like, oh my god, I just please get some of my voice back. And thankfully it is. So we will update next week the power rankings. I'm going to keep this tab open, and we will consistently week to week be modifying and adjusting the power rankings as we go. And hopefully we will see our Fighting Vikings jump up to the top 12 again as we gain some momentum and break through the adversity, because I know this team can do it. The roster has done it before, and I'm just excited to witness it. Mr. Samuel. Yeah, but the thing is that if there's no decent left tackle or anything or center like that, then what are we trading for, right? Those two positions are some of the hardest positions to trade for. The reason we were able to pick up Cam Robinson is because it was so late in the season. And it was like a week or two before the trade deadline where that kind of need came up. And the Jaguars were having a little bit of a fire sale at the time, right? They were, so it was a little bit of a perfect storm. Week 2 of the NFL, nobody's going to be giving up their backups, even their third stringers, in fear that something like what we're experiencing happens, right? So it's okay. Things are going to happen the way they're supposed to happen, and last year, when I thought, when a lot of people thought things were at its darkest, and we weren't going to win any more games, we ended up pulling out 14. So I thoroughly enjoyed that roller coaster ride last year, and I'm excited for this year. That's why, like always, I'm never stressed, never worried, and from beginning to end, and I try not to be rattled. I try to just exude and let that joy always flow out of me, and try to keep that calm perspective, because I feel like that's the best service that I could do for us Vikings fans. So don't worry about it, Samuel. It's all good, man, as long as you're here now, man. So yeah, I hope you guys any other questions, anything, any other topics? Let me think of maybe we can do a little bit of I know I had an instant reaction right after the game. I know you guys can go back and check that live. And I guess I addressed it a little bit with the kind of like the motivational talk at the start of the live stream. So if you guys are late, after, just scroll at the beginning, had a little nice little words for Vikings fans. But yeah, I was in the building. I was never nervous. It sucks to waste a defensive effort like that. But outside of all the terrible things that were going on, there was just so many good things that actually gave me hope. The fact that this defense never gave up, the fact that the defense always kept us in the game. And honestly, at the very end of the game, if the defense comes up with a pick or score, or like, a defensive score or something like that, like it's really becomes a situation like last week. I know it didn't happen, but the defense made that a possibility. And that's huge. For me, one of the biggest factors from last year and Brian Flores was the fact that in the second half, we seem to slow down, we seem to get scared, we seem to go super vanilla, and it was like Brian Flores got stunned when the offensive coordinator started swinging back, made adjustments. This year, the second half has been different. The second half seems to be the half in which the defense kind of lights up and kind of plays a little bit better. You know what I mean? So just like out of the Chicago that we heard after the press conferences, that one of the things that caught them off guard was the lack of pressure that B-Flow sent in the first half, and they kind of threw their strategy off. And in the second half, he turned it up. He put him in a blender, and we saw how that worked out. Now we have Carson Wentz coming in. We have some backups coming in to fill in some roles for our injured players. We have Cam Akers coming back. We have Aaron Jones going on injured reserve. And things are going to be different. But you know what? I still have faith that the camaraderie, the teamwork, the brotherhood that was built last year is still a solid foundational piece that's going to help guide or help through the adversity. That experience is going to be a big factor. Um, there was another thing that I wanted to mention about this season. It literally just came in and I finished that statement and I forgot it. Thank you, ADHD. I really love having it. But crap, what was I was just about to say something pretty, gosh darn it. Anyway, oh yeah. One of the biggest concerns that I think maybe a lot of Vikings fans have had, and I think this concern comes from watching the Redeem team, those Philadelphia Eagles, how they struggled so hard. Um, I kept thinking to myself, what's it gonna be like? We have so many freaking weapons, you know. How are we gonna get everybody the ball? How are we gonna get everybody warm? Like now we're seeing, the game plan. What the game happened last week, and Hawkinson got what, like 2 targets, right? Um, Though we ended up having what, like 29 rushing attempts between both running backs, and it wasn't like, didn't seem like either one could get in the flow. You know what I mean? So like it's one of these things, like, I was worried, like, how are we gonna have how is KOC going to be able to create game plans to be able to make sure everybody's involved without misusing people or having people disappear, stuff like that. If that's going to be something that's going to play a factor, just like it did with the Redeem team. All the freaking superstars in the world, no chemistry, they couldn't get it done. They couldn't force feed everybody, right? And maybe that's something that's plagued us a little bit over these first 2 games. I don't know. It seems, maybe you look at the playbook. I'm thinking to myself, you look at the playbook, you got Thielen out there, you got JJ out there, you got Hawkinson out there, you got either Jordan Mason or Aaron Jones, and you might have Speedy Naylor out there. You know what I mean? Like, so many options. And then you're looking at it like, you got 40 seconds to choose a call. Who am I going to? You know what I mean? So that could be a factor that's playing there. But now we have all these injuries. We have to simplify a little bit more. Maybe that, the ability that now we can't second guess, who do we feed the ball to, Aaron Jones or Jordan Mason. Now it's just Jordan Mason and Cam Akers. And Cam Akers isn't going to just demand the respect that Aaron Jones did for the amount of touches he's going to get in the game. It's going to be Jordan Mason's show to lose, or spot to lose, right? So um then it just, now we got Carson Wentz out there. Maybe the simplification has to become even more simple, because we picked him up pretty late in the offseason, right? So um you never know. It might be a blessing in disguise. It just might be adversity that we just have to overcome. We don't know. I don't know. And I'm not going to get scared or angry or lose my hope or my faith for this team. Um, these are the type of situations and the experiences that we need to go through in order to become the team that we want to be. The team that, you know, has the expectations that a lot of fans that merits the expectations that a lot of fans have right now. Um, when they shouldn't, right? So hopefully that was yes, I get what you're saying. And I understand having high expectations, especially after a 14 win season, but this is technically year one of the JJ McCarthy era, right? So I have high expectations too, or have high hopes of a 12 win season. But I didn't think it was going to be a juggernaut type of season. I thought we were just going to be, the roster would steal us some wins. JJ would develop, and by the end of the season, by, the second half of the season, that's when we would start looking like a team that would deserve expectations, if that makes sense. And I was just content to just enjoy the ride and experience it all, good and bad, and knowing that at the end of it all, I would have experienced every moment of history being made. So that's my perspective on it, I guess. And again, what day is it today? It's wet. Oh no, I should have done this live like an hour later. Because I like shit talking in the NFC North Roundtable Live. I bet you that's over now. God damn it. Uh-oh. But anyways, that's okay. It is what it is. Maybe I can jump in there at the very end. But again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with my talking Vikings. I hope you guys if you guys didn't catch the beginning of the live, I started with a brief word, little word to Vikings fans, just kind of giving you guys my perspective. So if go back and check that out. And then yeah, the power rankings, and then a little bit of discussion, like hanging out, boys. But I really appreciate you guys. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more Vikings content, more lives. Like I said, this year I'm going to be looking to do multiple lives throughout the day, trying to make them like different segments. Talking about different things. We got the hot take review that I love to do, just shit talking idiots that like to in from the mainstream media that like to downplay our Minnesota Vikings, or maybe just even reacting to something fun, right? On top of the power rankings, predictions, and our post-game lives as well. But so I hope you guys enjoy, and I think I'm going to come back on live in a few hours here for my second live of the day. It's going to be a little bit in the evenings. I'd work this morning, but I think that's it. I love you guys all. Every one of you Vikings fans, even every other fan in the league. Let's be real. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next live. Take care, guys.